Scouts were once touting this running back as a can't-miss prospect, some even calling him the next Adrian Peterson. Whatever happened to Trent Richardson? Trent Richardson grew up in Pensacola, Florida, and when I say grew up, I mean morphed into an athletic marvel by the time he reached high school. During Richardson's time at Escambia High School, he would put up one monstrous performance after another, including 2 separate games in which he ran for over 400 yards. He would draw frequent comparisons to another Escambia graduate, Emmitt Smith, but his overpoweringly physical style would also lead to some calling him the next Earl Campbell. During Richardson's senior year, he'd be ranked as a 5-star recruit and the second best running back in the class of 2008. Richardson would turn down powerhouses like LSU and Florida to sign with the Nick Saban Crimson Tide. He would spend his freshman and sophomore years as the primary backup to Heisman winner Mark Ingram, but he still managed to get significant work, carrying the ball over 250 times for over 1,500 yards. When Ingram left for the draft after the 2010 season, the reins were handed to Trent. When you follow up an all-time legend like Ingram, expectation will obviously be very high. Not only did Richardson pick up where Ingram left off, he may have been even better than his predecessor. That season, Richardson would amass over 2,000 yards from scrimmage and 24 total touchdowns. And it was not just the numbers that Richardson put up, it was the way in which he did it. Simply put, Richardson was a man among boys in 2011. It did not matter who was on the opposing defense, Richardson was running them over. He'd become the first Alabama running back to win the Doak Walker Award given to the best running back in the nation. He would finish 3rd in the Heisman race behind Robert Griffin III and Andrew Luck. Most importantly, Trent was the centerpiece of an offense that completely revolved around the run game. Alabama would lean on Richardson to win their 2nd national title in just 3 years. Clearly too good to stay in Tuscaloosa, Richardson would declare for the 2012 NFL Draft. There, he was touted as the best running back in the entire class, ahead of names like Doug Martin and David Wilson. Scouts lauded him for his elite combination of size and speed, and labeled him as a player that you could build an entire NFL offense around. And Richardson cemented himself as a physical anomaly when videos began surfacing of him casually squatting 600 pounds. By all accounts, Trent was looked at as a can't-miss 3-down rusher that would likely find his way to Canton once it was all said and done. He would ultimately be taken 3rd overall by the Cleveland Browns. Despite the Browns' seemingly endless string of misfortunes, they do have one of the most storied running back lineages of any franchise. Almost immediately following the selection, Richardson would be compared to some of the Browns' greats, such as Jim Brown. Now, on the surface, Trent's rookie season looked pretty solid. He ran for 950 yards and added 367 more receiving, while accounting for 12 total touchdowns, a Browns rookie record. But a closer look revealed a lack of efficiency and explosiveness in Trent's game. Oftentimes, it appeared Richardson could not find any hole. Expectations were still high for Richardson entering his 2nd season, but the Browns would shock the world when they would ship Richardson to the Colts in exchange for a 1st-round pick. They did nothing but accelerate Richardson's steep descent. He would average under 3 yards per carry in Indy, and by December would lose the starting job to Donald Brown. The 2014 season wouldn't get any better, as Richardson was similarly ineffective in a timeshare. Following the brutal performance, he'd be cut in the offseason. He would sign with the Raiders in March of 2015, but after struggles with camp and a bout with pneumonia, he would be released just 3 months later. After missing the entire 2015 season, he would try to get back to the league and signed a small deal with the Ravens in 2016. But once again, Richardson would be released before the start of the season. This would mark the end of Trent Richardson's career in the NFL. The next few years consisted of brief stints in the CFL and the now defunct AAF. Most recently, Trent signed on with the Cuadrillos de Chihuahua of the Football Americano de Mexico League in 2021, but unfortunately saw little playing time. Today, Trent spends most of his time focusing on raising his 3 children, and while Richardson may be known to some as one of the greatest collegiate running backs of all time, to most, he'll sadly always be remembered as one of the biggest busts in NFL history.